Ollie, I have to talk about Kevin De Bruyne. Hitting form, obviously, he's had a few injury problems. And I remember about a year ago, there was talk about, is Bruno Fernandes better than Kevin De Bruyne? And he's having a torrid season, I think it's safe to say. De Bruyne has just continued to perform at this exceptionally high level for several years now. And I mean, he must be the best midfielder in the world, surely. I asked this question to the guys on the weekend, and it evolved into, is he better than even Steven Gerrard was in his prime? But what do you think about De Bruyne and how important he is to the City lineup? Because for me right now, with the exception of maybe Edison, he's the most important player they have.
Yeah, I would agree with that. His form over the last couple of months has been absolutely fantastic. Funny enough, he didn't start the season brilliantly at all, or his first half of the season was, it was a bit. He looked like he was one of those players who was a bit jaded, and it sometimes felt to me like he is at his best when City aren't. I don't know whether that is borne out by the statistics, but if we say that if we say that the period since about January where he's really hit form, that Manchester City haven't perhaps been in quite the level of form that they were before that. I think that's fair to say. But if I'd been picking a team of the season in January, I don't think he would have been near it on performance. I think most Man City fans would have told you that Bernardo and Rodri had been, by far the best performers in City's midfield. But if you look at it now, I mean, his contribution over the last couple of months has been immense, and at times, you mentioned Gerrard, at times he's been sort of driving them forward, sort of carrying them forward, grabbing games by the scruff of the neck in that Gerrard type way. That sort of comparison is valid. And at the moment, you would say he's emerging as a contender for Player of the Year, even if he did have a quiet first half of the season. I mean, Salah has been favourite for that award since from a very early stage. But I would say Salah's had a quiet couple of months. De Bruyne has really come to the fore, and he suddenly, if you're looking towards City and thinking who is going to drive them forward, it's him. And that wasn't necessarily the case back in sort of December, January. But I think ever since that Manchester derby, in particular, he's gone up another level. And his form over the last few weeks has been great.
Yeah, it's a bit like Harry Kane. Poor first half of the season, second half completely changes. And in terms of playing well when your side isn't, the person that always rings true for me is David De Gea at Manchester United, but that's a story for another day. You brought up Salah's name. Art, what do you make of him? Because there's a lack of open goals. I think it's February was the last time he scored a goal on open play. And interestingly enough, even Son Heung-min has now overtaken Salah for most goals from open play this season, so not including penalties. The contract situation, he spoke about it in an interview before the game with Sky Sports. So, I mean, where do we stand on Salah? Why is this form a bit of a concern, even though he got an assist, I should add?
Yeah, it's an interesting one because I think when you contrast it to De Bruyne's situation, I think with him, you have to remember he had the Euros where he actually was injured and I wouldn't say forced back early, but certainly rushed back to get Belgium through that tournament. And then you see that drop off. Then with Salah, maybe you look at AFCON coming in the middle of the season and just almost the intensity that came with that, both emotionally and performance-wise. And then you come back to Liverpool and you have to keep your standards at that level. I think it's probably not something most footballers would be able to do. So I don't feel like, say, a drop-off in performance is completely surprising. But I would say, like you mentioned, it's important that he just manages to contribute in some way, even if it isn't with goals, because I know everybody's going to be looking to Mo Salah for goals, but he did play an unbelievable pass for that Mane goal. And I think just having him ticking over and then hopefully when things click again, he's there to take opportunities. That's when for Liverpool, he may be back in form. But I do feel like it isn't just, I guess, he's now finished, he's this and that. You have to remember how important he was to that Liverpool team at the start of the season, he's probably one of the main reasons they are where they are right now. So it's all about swings and roundabouts, really.